Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Home and Hearth Living. Today we're in the kitchen and we're working on some ketchup. If you've never made ketchup before, it's really easy. It seems like there's a lot of ingredients, and quite frankly there are quite a few, but it's really simple because you can use a slow cooker, you can put it on and forget it for a large period of time. You do have to stir every couple of hours or every hour, but ultimately it's a really easy recipe to do. So we've got diced tomatoes, and it's still dark out right now because we want to get this finished today. But the overall cooking time is about 12 hours. So we've got the cans of diced tomatoes, and they are just regular diced tomatoes from Costco. And so that's the first ingredient. It's really, obviously you can't have ketchup without tomatoes. It wouldn't be ketchup. So just got to open some cans here. My trusty assistants forgot to open the cans. So it's been a great deal of fun trying to work out how we're going to do this recipe, but we found one that we really like. And we're actually doing this as a double batch. We started this about, sorry, I'm just setting up the crock pot here. I think that's the high setting. Unfortunately, our crock pot is, I guess, 4 years old, 5 years old, and it's seen its better days. All the markings are gone from it, and everything is, it works. That's all I can say. I couldn't tell you what the settings are anymore, but who knows. Going from memory. So anyway, these tomatoes are just diced up tomatoes that are only lightly seasoned, I believe. So from Costco. Two down, two to go. So this recipe can be halved from what we're doing. So this is 4 cans of tomatoes, and you'll see the recipe either here or over here, whichever. And as we're going through it, there we go. Now I've forgotten where it was. Awesome. So just the 4 cans of tomatoes, some sugar. Now this is one of the areas you can control. So if you don't want to use sugar and you want to use a sweetener of another type, like honey or something else, you can do that. We don't have the exact measurements for the honey, but you can find relationship measurements between sugar and natural sugars online. So that would be one way to do it, but you're going to have to test those things because they're not exactly the same flavor profiles. So you might have to take a look at how that's broken out. This recipe will last for a couple of months in the fridge. We use ketchup on almost a daily basis, so we go through it pretty quickly. There we go. The tomatoes are all in. Everybody in the pool, as the saying goes. There we go. So the next thing we have in our recipe is, it asks for a 1/4 cup of water per can, and they're just to rinse out the cans and add an additional little bit amount. I'm not rinsing out the cans today, but we'll put a 1/4 cup of water in. This will help from getting it to burn or stopping it from burning, but we're also going to be putting some vinegar in it, so it should be good. So this is 2/3 of a cup. This is a 1 cup measure. It's relatively low sugar, so the ketchup is relatively low sugar for the quantity that's in there. So and because we're going there, so it's actually going to be a cup and a half of sugar. This was a little bit more than a half a cup, so there we go. Cup and a half of vinegar, distilled white vinegar. And then onion powder, and that's going to be 2 teaspoons of onion powder. One, two, it's a long list of ingredients. Garlic powder. So I have my big thing of Costco garlic powder. Well, it's actually from Clubhouse, but sorry about that. So 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Celery salt is a 1/8 of a teaspoon. Or sorry, it's a 1/4 of a teaspoon. That's it. And this is black pepper at 1/2 a teaspoon. And mustard. That's not mustard. This is mustard. So this is ground mustard seed. And 1/2 of that. And last but not least, cloves. And believe it or not, you only need 2 for this. So there's the 2 cloves. Now, this is, like I said, a very simple recipe. Now I just stir this in, and then we forget about it for about 12 hours. So once this is done and is ready for the next step, I will come back and let you take a look at it. So for what you guys will be a minute or less. For me will be 12 plus hours. So see you soon. Okay, so we're back. It's been a few hours. We're about 10 hours now, and I'm happy with the consistency. You can see here that it's really thickened up. What I'm going to do now is emulsify it, but what I'm looking for right now is to see if we can find the clove before we emulsify it. I'd like to take them out, and there they are. So we're just going to take the 2 cloves out. They're nice and soft. They've given off all their flavor. sometimes they can give a little bit of a bitter taste if you get a piece and it didn't get fully emulsified properly. So yeah, this is turned into a really nice paste, which is basically what ketchup is. So now we're just going to go in here. Yeah. Hello. We're just going to emulsify this up a little bit. I have to say, these emulsion blenders, with the guy, whoever came up with them, is genius. That's all, you know, just to go through and make it so that it's real easy for anybody to just quickly get that all sorted out and emulsified. It's amazing. So what I've got set up is obviously the crock pot we've been working with. It's been a struggle. The reason it actually came down, it should take about 12 hours. We're 2 hours earlier because we actually had to turn up the heat a little bit more. The original settings, because this crock pot is dying, it didn't work so well. So we turned it to the other setting set and had to balance and twist, and so it got done a little bit faster than we were expecting, which is why we're recording a little bit sooner than we were expecting. So we're just going to take this now. We've got a metal fine mesh strainer. It's going to be used to just go and take the ketchup, put it in here, and of course hold on to your strainer so you don't do silly things like that. And then all you're doing is just pushing the ketchup through the strainer. What this does is it gets rid of all the seeds, stay in the strainer, and the ketchup and tomato goodness goes through. So you can see we're just pushing it through. We just take that out, put it to the side, and on to the next. And this is what we're going to do for a little bit here. So we'll fast forward through some of this so you can see it happening, but it's just going to be in fast motion. Okay, so this is the last little bit. The crock pot is now fully empty. So we just got this little piece here to do to get rid of the last of the major fiber portion of the tomato. You want to get as much of this as you possibly can. So I'm going to show you what's left as far as the scrapings. Really, this is all we took out. So there's not a whole lot left. You know, most of it's going into the ketchup. So something to consider. Like you're putting out of the 4 cans, you're getting maybe a cup and a half, maybe 2 cups of fiber out of the whole, like the seeds and the skins and stuff, and any of the fibrous internal parts of the tomato. And that's really what you want out of this, is to get as much of the tomato out of the whole thing, so you're getting as much ketchup as possible. And these were Roma tomatoes. Roma's traditionally the best tomato for making this, from my opinion. But you can make it from other types of tomatoes. Works great with field tomatoes. We've done field tomatoes before. We had an excess one year. We basically had 400 pounds of tomatoes, and we made a lot of ketchup and canned it. So, but we're out of it now. So I'm just gonna scrape this out. Give this one last pass on the bottom here. Because the next we're going to use the ladle. I'll probably rinse it off here, but we'll use the ladle to scoop it into the jar. Now you can use the squeeze bottles or whatever you want to use to do this, but I'm just going to rinse this off quickly. For us, this ketchup won't last all that long. It's probably a month, so we're not going to bother canning it. But now you're just going to scrape off the bottom of the strainer. Important part, there's a lot of good stuff on here. Just don't turn the strainer upside down, because anything you left would, or missed, would fall in. There we go. Strainer's pretty clear. And now this is what we've got left, and this is all ketchup. And it smells amazing. There's nothing better than homemade ketchup. I might need a couple of jars here, but we'll start with one. And really, this is all there is to making this ketchup. A little bit of time, a little bit of effort to get the stuff into the jar, or sorry, into the slow cooker. Our next task for making ketchup will be to do it with natural stuff, and we'll come up with a recipe for that. But we're also not going to be using our trusty old unit anymore. It's destined for, shall we say, less positive environments. And we'll probably try and do something in the Instapot and see whether or not we can make a version for that, a recipe. Like I said, this isn't going to last too long. So we're not too worried about it. It'll be done before it goes bad in the fridge. So it'll sit in the fridge for a month or so. But yeah, that's it. That's the whole exercise. and you can see this is going to give us, well, I guess it would be almost two full jars. Almost, not quite. And that is that. So, I hope you've enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit of a simple one today, but I think that it's an opportunity for you guys to try and make ketchup on your own. It's not really hard. It's something that that we've been doing for a couple of years now, and on and off we've had to buy some, but that's due to tomato shortages and things like that. But other than that, we try and make our own at least once every couple of months, and we'll make a couple of jars and on to the next recipe. So thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Home and Hearth Living channel.